we endure all kinds of challenges.
Hiyo ndio sababu mimi natoa shukrani kwenu kabisa kama wananasa.
To bring you the most credible news. We thank all our viewers for their commitment. NASA TV is a people-driven channel, meaning our content direction and style comes directly from our viewers. We would like to appeal for your help to NASA TV to boost and improve our standards. You can contribute directly to NASA TV by donating to Airtel Paybill number 555155. Support NASA TV. NASA TV. Mambo yabadilika. Standing by. A very good evening to you and welcome to Opinion 2017 this Saturday, the 23rd of December 2017, just 2 days before Christmas. Now in studio today, our guest is what you could call a smoking gun, a lawyer par excellence, a man known for deconstructing untruths and putting the truth where it ought to be. This is none other than NRM General Dr. Miguna. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Good to see you,
I'm a
General.
revolutionary.
You're a revolutionary.
More than a gun.
A revolutionary is bigger than the gun.
Bigger than the gun.
Very
gun
well.
serves the revolution. Not the other way around. Yes.
I hear you.
Thank
and
you.
I stand corrected.
Thank you.
It's good to see you in one piece.
Yes, I'm always in one piece.
Yes, very good to see you in one piece. Now let's just get to it. You are supposedly detained illegally in Kilifi on your way to the Coast Regional People's Assembly, which was attended by His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, Ali Hassan Joho, Governor of Mombasa, Kingi, who's the governor of Kilifi, amongst other leaders drawn from the coastal area. What was this about?
I was not supposedly. I think, Baggy, the media should be very clear on this. It's a fact. You've seen the clips.
Right.
You know it happened.
Right.
Yes. So I left Nairobi by about 3:30.
Right.
On a flight from Wilson Airport.
Yes.
Clearly, the security forces were not protecting Kenyans. They were tracking me.
Mm-hmm.
So once they knew, and I don't know who disclosed the information, because the decision that was made for me to travel
Yes.
was made at noon.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not like I had been booked to the 3:30 flight.
Mm-hmm.
The booking was done as I was heading to the airport.
Right.
It was done deliberately that way so that nobody knew that I would be traveling.
Yes.
So I get to Wilson, and we're waiting for the flight, and people arrived there. They were suspicious, but I didn't know they were following me.
Yes.
They came to Wilson, and they insisted that they must be on this flight. So 2 or 3 people were actually removed from that flight that had already been booked earlier, so that these people could get into the flight.
Isn't this a commercial flight?
It's a commercial flight, but you know in Kenya, they abuse all the privileges that they have.
Mm-hmm.
So they insisted they must be on this flight.
Right.
And there was almost a fight, actually a physical fight broke out
Yes.
between those who were running the flight
Yes.
and these individuals who wanted to be on the flight.
Mm-hmm.
They eventually got onto the flight.
Right.
And when we arrived in Mombasa, you know, when I go to places, it's normal for people to want to take photos and whatnot.
Yeah, selfies.
So
yeah.
I didn't think it was unusual that people would be taking my photos when I arrived in Mombasa.
Yes.
But apparently this was a security operation. So they took my they took my pictures. I walked, went and boarded the vehicle that was to pick me at the airport.
Right.
And I noticed, that is the first time I noticed, that clearly there were people that were following and monitoring me. Two people jumped out of nowhere, and they started talking on the phone and walkie-talkies. So, and they were only looking at my vehicle.
Right.
And there were so many other passengers, and they were not monitoring them. And the driver who came to pick me up is a resident of Mombasa.
Right.
And he told me there is no traffic.
Yes.
So he calculated that it would take me 20 minutes to reach Sand and Sand in Kilifi.
Yes.
So the moment we get out of the airport, the moment we clear the barrier where you pay, right away they have put roadblocks on all roads. You can just see gridlock right away
Right.
as we leave the airport. So I told the gentleman, this is funny, that you would have not seen any traffic,
Yes.
and all of a sudden we have a gridlock on an evening on Sunday in Mombasa.
Right.
So I said, this is definitely these guys. I told him because I was very aware. So I said, let's make a U-turn as soon as we get an opportunity. They made sure we couldn't even get an opportunity. We went over the ramp to go to the other side to be able to leave this traffic. So we went backwards and we went through the port, which they would not have anticipated
Yes.
because we had security clearance through the port.
Okay.
So we did go through the port. They didn't know where I was. And then I noticed some funny calls coming in, which means that they want me to pick up the call so that they know where the phone is pinging,
Exactly.
so they know where I am. We were able to maneuver and actually leave the Mombasa County. But I believe that the only reason they knew where I was eventually is that the governor of Mombasa sent a security vehicle. You saw the blue Mercedes-Benz written Mombasa County Inspectorate.
Right. Right.
I was not in that vehicle. I was in the vehicle following that vehicle. That vehicle was sent after we had been stuck on the road for more than 1 hour in a distance of 20 minutes.
Of 20 minutes. Right.
So they did that at the White Sands Hotel. That's where we actually met those gentlemen, so that they could clear the traffic. I could reach faster.
You could reach Kilifi faster.
So we were following that vehicle as it was clearing the road. And the moment we passed the Mtwapa Bridge,
Yes.
this more than 50 heavily armed people just jumped onto the road. And they said, that's him, that's him, that's him. And they blocked the road. I was not expecting that.
Right.
But you know, in Kenya, there are things, whether you expect them or not,
I
they
mean,
happen.
General.
So they closed the road. Then the OCPD came to where I was sitting, and he said I should accompany him to the police station. I said, for what? He said he has a so that he could have a talk with me. So actually, initially, I wanted to go and talk with him because I had not suspected that they would be detaining me. So I left the vehicle and tried to follow him. The moment we reached the gate, a junior officer came running towards us with a bunch of keys.
This is the gate of the police station.
Of the police station. It's just near the road.
Okay.
So they have detained the two vehicles, and of course my driver was in the vehicle, and the other people that were in front with the Mombasa County vehicle were there. So they were not after them, they were after me. So I had just arrived in Mombasa, I had not done anything. Why should the Mombasa police or Kilifi police be after me?
Right.
So I made as if to go into the police station. Once I saw the key, I've been a lawyer for 23 years.
Yes.
I know how police behave. I knew they were going to open the cells. I immediately told the man, I'm not going in. Because why is this man running with the key? I told him, there's no way I'm going in. You can have your talk with me right here on the road. Right? I'm a Kenyan citizen. I'm not under arrest.
Yes.
There are no allegations that I've committed any crime. There is no reason why I would be meeting you in your office. I have no dealings with you. I did not come here to meet with you.
Right.
I'm going for a function, and that's where I intend to go. Tell me what the problem is right now. So the moment he realized I'm not going in, he got onto the phone and started getting instructions. So I went
From
and sat in
above
the
once again.
Yes. So I went and sat in the vehicle. Within no minute, more trucks of heavily armed police are arriving. More menacingly looking people arrive. I see Koome arrive.
Are you talking about Koome, the Nairobi County
The
Commander?
Nairobi County Commander actually arrived. So he goes to speak to the OCPD. They come back to me with Koome and insist that I go and speak with them. I tell them, no, I'm not speaking with you. Over what? What crime have I committed?
Right.
Arrest me now if you have anything against me. They couldn't. So after back and forth, 4 policemen come attempting to open the vehicle. By this time, I'm out of the vehicle again. They're trying to take my things. So I told them, you can't open the vehicle. They intimidated the driver. The driver was almost giving them the key. I took the key. I locked the car. And I said, you have no warrant of arrest. You have no warrant to search anything. You're not going to search anything. You can shoot me if you want, but you're not searching anything. You're not getting into the vehicle. You're not searching me. And I told them, if I'm walking, if you have refused to allow me to travel by road, which is a public road,
Right.
I'll walk. So I attempted to walk, and they cocked their guns, ready to shoot. So I stood. So I said, well, you don't want me to drive there or to be driven there. You don't want me to walk.
Right.
What would you like me to do? They couldn't answer. So I said, should I take a taxi? At that point, the Mombasa County ODM chairman
Right.
came to where I was and said he could take me to where I'm going if they have refused to release the vehicle in which I was, and have refused to allow the Mombasa County vehicle to take me there.
Right.
So as we made to go towards the vehicle, again, they cocked their guns. So I remained standing. So I just stood there. More vehicles are arriving. Now they're coming with tear gas. Now they're coming. So I found it very funny. People began to congregate around there. Motorists, commuters, giving me high five, asking what is happening, basically chanting my name. And they, at this point, they start harassing them. They start chasing them around, telling them to disperse. Of course, they would chase this one this way, those ones
Another
would
one
come
this-
that
yeah,
way.
right.
They would chase this way, the other one would come this way. That lasted for, imagine we landed in Mombasa around 4 o'clock.
Right.
This is now 7 o'clock. We are not going anywhere. They're still up and down, talking on the walkie-talkies,
Right.
talking on the radios. I try to approach them. They're not communicating with me. So I realized, and of course, Raila Odinga would be calling me, Orengo would be calling me,
Right.
and I'm saying, I'm just here. They have refused to allow me to go. So then we realized, because it is Raila Odinga who said, I think they just don't want you to come here.
The whole idea was
The
to
whole
keep you
idea
there.
is to keep me so that I don't go. And of course, to be crystal clear and to be candid, I was going to swear Raila in.
Wait a
I
minute.
am the one who had all the instruments, and it was obvious that they knew.
No.
So imagine,
No, General, before you proceed, these are rather dangerous things you're saying. The
No,
Attorney
they're not
General,
dangerous.
the
There's
Attorney
nothing
General
dangerous.
made it clear that
The
the
Attorney
people
General does
who
not
are
know
talking
the law.
about the swearing in, there's a death sentence.
so why didn't he wait until I swore Raila in, and then he could arrest me, and then he could sentence me to death? He has no power to sentence anybody. He has no power to try anybody even. The Attorney General of Kenya, under the new constitution, his role is only on corporate and civil matters. Criminal law is under the DPP, the Director of
Public
Public
prosecutions.
Prosecutions, Mr. Tobiko. That is his domain. Arrests are under the police. So if the police knew or had evidence that I had committed a crime, they could have arrested me. They had not arrested me. If the police thought or believed that I was going to commit a crime where I was going, they would have allowed me to reach there, then executed an arrest. Here is a situation where they are not allowing me to go where I'm going. Now, thirdly, Githu Muigai does not charge anybody, does not prosecute anybody, does not convict anybody. Even if I was arrested, you are not guaranteed success after arrest.
Right.
So he cannot purport to know the outcome of a proceeding in court. He could lose that proceeding, and in this one, he would have lost it, and he would still lose it even if he were to charge me. He cannot prove treason. And there is no crime in the Kenyan laws called high treason. There's no such law. I was not planning to kill Uhuru Kenyatta. I was not planning to physically remove Uhuru Kenyatta from the illegitimate position he holds.
Right.
I was not planning to execute a coup d'etat. I was going to conduct a legal ceremony,
Right.
which I still intend to do.
Miguna, you're saying
So
you had the
point is,
instruments.
I had the instruments, and that's why they wanted to get them from the vehicle. They knew that. Imagine this. The person Kenyans elected, the people's president, Raila Odinga,
Right.
was at the event.
Yes.
They didn't prevent him from getting into the event. They didn't prevent him from speaking at the event. James Orengo, who represented Raila at the Supreme Court
Yes.
and won the first petition,
Yes.
was at the event. He's a senior counsel.
Right.
He's older than me.
Yes.
He's senior in the profession than me. They didn't prevent him from getting in there.
Yes.
They didn't prevent him from speaking.
Yes.
David Ndii was at that event. They didn't prevent him from being at that event. They didn't prevent him from speaking. There were many other people, including Governor Joho
Yes.
and Governor Kingi.
Right.
So the only difference between them and me is because I had the instruments. They knew that without me, the swearing in could not take place. And Raila was ready to be sworn in. The Bible was there. Everybody was there. The only things that were missing was me, the person going to conduct the swearing in, and the instruments of swearing in.
Right.
And they knew that. So they detained me illegally on the road to prevent me from getting there. And after they knew the meeting had dispersed, they told me, now you can go. We have achieved
You
our
mean
intention.
they let you go just that easily?
Just like that. And they said it. They said the meeting is over, now you can go.
Well, General, I mean, something is obviously not very right. How would these people know, perhaps? Maybe that's a question for another
What do you
time.
mean? Of course they knew.
They
They knew. They tapped your phones. They obviously would have tapped my phone. They would have tapped Raila Odinga's phone. Maybe somebody at the meeting, because Raila Odinga had only told one or two people, but
Right.
you never know who's the mole. So he told
Right.
one or two people at the meeting.
Right.
By the way, even Governor Kingi did not know. Ndii did not know. Uduoro Mwen did not know. So he told one or two people, and he must have told one or two people probably in Nairobi. So we know, we can easily find who the mole is. I know who the mole is, but I would not name him publicly, because I've already told people who care to know who the mole is, at least from outside where Raila Odinga was, because I was not there. But no matter what we say, there is a mole who reported to the authorities and made the authorities know exactly what my intentions were, and who then decided to detain me on the road. It was an illegal detention,
Right.
because you cannot detain anyone, a Kenyan citizen, on a public road before they commit a crime.
Right.
You cannot charge somebody for a crime they have not committed. In law, you have to meet two criteria for you to commit a crime.
Right.
One is mens rea. The mental state of mind,
Okay.
or the criminal mind.
Yes.
Then you must have actus reus. You have done the act. So what act had I done? Even if they say that to have the intention of swearing somebody in as a people's president
Right.
is a criminal offense, but I had not done it. So you can't prove one element and prove the crime. You must prove both.
At the same
And they
time.
knew they had not proven it. So if you actually wanted to hang Miguna,
Yes.
and you said, we want to teach these people a lesson, you know Miguna has the intention. Miguna has the instruments.
Yes.
He's driving there. Let him go there. Let him conduct the event.
Commit
arrest
the
him,
crime, then arrest
Take him
him.
to court.
Very
They
well.
know they can't prove that. They can't prove the crime for which they are saying we intend to commit. So the only thing they do is threaten, intimidate, harass, detain, disrupt, violate your rights. And that is unacceptable.
Very well. If you're just joining us, this is Opinion 2017. Our guest is NRM General Dr. Miguna. Wow, you know, General, you're saying some really weighty stuff. Let's get to the next bit of this discussion. You made some very serious allegations, and you made it clear via your Twitter account that the IG, Boynet, and Nairobi County Commandant, Kome, have put together a team of 6 assassins who are supposed to assassinate you on the 28th of December, which is just about 5 days away. I mean, some people are saying this sounds like something from a fiction movie.
Why? People have been assassinated in Kenya. Tom Mboya was assassinated. Nobody has been arrested. Jem Kariuki was assassinated. Nobody has been arrested.
Right.
Odhiambo Mbai was assassinated. Nobody has been arrested. There are so many people who have been assassinated in Kenya politically for political reasons for which no explanation has been given. Msando was recently tortured and killed. Nobody has been arrested. Jacob Juba was assassinated recently.
Yes.
Nobody has been arrested. So why would people say this is fiction movie? In Kenya, they assassinate political opponents. They assassinate people that they feel are doing things that threaten their legitimate positions. They have usurped power. These two demagogues, these two despotic people,
Well-
Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto, let's be clear,
Okay,
were
yes,
not elected on August 8th, and they were not elected on October 26th.
Right.
The power they have now is illegitimate power. More than 3/4 of the Kenyan voters did not vote. Out of 20 million voters, they got 3.5 million votes. They inflated them to 7.5. So even if you give them 7.5 million
Right.
out of 20 million, what percentage is that? The entire country rejected them. They know that. So the only thing to do is to intimidate, threaten, and assassinate. And so that has happened before. To make it very clear, I have the names. And I can tell you, let me tell you this. Constable James Kihichu and John Kibet from the Central Police Station are the ones who have been following me.
Constable James Kihichu
Kihichu and John Kibet.
and John Kibet.
Those are the people that have been assigned the role of following me around, monitoring my movements, so that they can now hand over to these assassins. The assassins are Paul Kipngeno, Cheriot. Paul Kipngeno is a sergeant. He's at the current police station. Constable Cheriot, Derek Cheriot, it is at the Kilimani police station. Senior Sergeant Melita Tata is at Kilimani police station, and Corporal Jaco Chieng at Karen police station. So I have this confidential information from very senior police officers who have told me this is the squad assigned the role of assassinating you on December 28th. This is very senior police officer. Now, since I named them, they reconstituted the squad. They removed the ones that have now been exposed,
Right.
and they've constituted 6 additional ones. So I have the information. Anybody who wants to refute this should refute it. But you can't say that I got this information from where. I don't work for the police, but I know their names, I know where they work, I know their rank. How would I do that if I didn't get the information from a very reliable source? So these are not names that I picked out of the air.
Right.
These are serving police officers right now. They have not denied it. But the media, the compromised media, the Githeri media,
Right.
is not reporting it. Because they have been told not to report my detention, and they didn't, none of them. They are not reporting this because they are waiting for breaking news. After Miguna's assassination, it's sensational. They can sell their filthy newspapers and airtime. Of course, I'm going to speak openly about it. I'm going to expose them. I'm going to show them I'm not afraid of them. I'm not scared. I'm not intimidated. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to surrender. I'm not going to allow illegitimate despots to muzzle everyone and to tell me that I have no rights to speak, to do the kind of things I'm doing, which are legal, just because they occupy illegitimate positions of power. And they feel threatened that when I speak and others like me, when we expose their criminality,
Yes.
when we expose their despotism
Right.
and their legitimate position of power,
Yes.
we discredit them and they lose grip over that illegitimate power. That's what they're afraid of. And they are also afraid that the moment Raila Odinga is sworn in, right away there is a constitutional and political crisis that they will not be able to manage, because they have bought everybody, almost everybody.
Right.
They have put the media in their pockets. They have put the religious leaders in their pockets. They have compromised the diplomats.
Yes.
So now, only the few people like me are standing up, and they want to, if they can't compromise you and they can't compromise me, then the only thing is to kill you.
General, these are very weighty, weighty statements. Has there been any contact from the police? I would expect the IG himself.
Why would he contact me when he's planning to kill me?
No, to ask you to come clear, or even...
Why would he do that when he knows I'm speaking the truth? He has not denied it. I tagged him. I tagged the police. I tagged the DPP. I tagged the press. They never contacted me. Have you had a situation? I'm a public figure.
Right.
I run for public office.
Right.
I'm a public intellectual. I go on TV more often than the average citizen.
Yes.
The media knows me.
Yes.
I have a lot of following, and there are viewers who would like to know what I am thinking or saying. I would be detained on a street, a public road, for 4 hours. I notify the media. I give them clips of videos and pictures. They can see armed police. They can see senior police officers. They know Koome followed me to Mombasa.
Right.
They don't run it. The reports that they put in the electronic media, they did not publish in the hard copies of their newspapers. So, for example, if you go to the Standard, you will see a story written by someone.
Yes.
If you go to the Standard of the following day, on Monday,
Yes.
there is no report. There's no report in the Star. There's no report in the Nation. There's no report in any of the TV stations. But if Miguna fell down at the airport, just stumbled and fell down, it would be breaking news.
It would have been a headline, perhaps.
It would have been a headline. If somebody came to my gate and I told the person to leave my gate,
Yes.
it would be headline. They have done that before. If I tweeted about something that is not even important, it would be in the newspaper. But I am detained on the road for 4 hours, going to swear in the people's president, and it's not reported. And they called me and told me the police told them that the reason they detained me is because they had information I was going to swear Raila in. and they don't report it. Now, I have received confidential information from a very highly placed source in the police service, and they don't report it. Why? Because they are waiting for me to die. It is quite obvious. They don't want people to know what these guys are planning, which means that the media has become part of the conspiracy of assassinating innocent Kenyans. They're part of it. That is why after somebody dies, like when Jacob Juma died, they start all manner of silly stories, telling stories that are not true, saying, oh, he was seen with this woman and this. They will make up stories so that there is an excuse for the death. And I can't allow that.
General, lastly on this matter, before we go to the next bit of our discussion, you've mentioned very clearly that you're not turning back.
There's no turning back.
That you're not being cowed. I mean, shouldn't this make you rethink?
No, no. You die once. You die once. And I'm going to die if I have to die for a good cause. Right? I would not be dying stealing somebody's money or sleeping with somebody's wife or taking cocaine or drugs or drunk. I would be dying fighting for freedom, fighting for justice. That's a good cause. Right? So there is absolutely no rethinking. The cause is crystal clear. My ideological compass is crystal clear and stable. My ability to understand issues is unblemished. And I am committed to the core. There's no turning back. We must fight these illegitimate despots and defeat them. I am convinced that is the only way Kenya would be on the path to prosperity. All this nonsense they're talking about is a waste of time.
Well, let's go to another matter. Foreign envoys have raised their fears about swearing in. Some of them have told Raila Odinga that his legacy is at stake.
What is that legacy?
They are pushing for dialogue.
The legacy that Raila should care about is the legacy of freedom, of liberation, of justice, of equality and equity, of democracy, of rule of law, of principles of constitutionalism. That is the legacy. And that is the legacy these people are defiling every day. When they killed Baby Pendo, what law and constitution were they upholding? When they killed Baby Mora, or the child called Mora, or Mutinda, when they were battering those women in Jacaranda, when Sonko dumped raw human feces and raw sewer at Jacaranda Gardens, what law was he upholding? What constitution was he upholding? When Uhuru and Ruto rigged the elections of August 8th, what constitution and law were they upholding? When they butcher people and maim them in Migori, Kisumu, Bondo, Homa Bay, all over Nyanza, and they go to estates in Nairobi, like when they went to Kibra, they went to Madare, they went to all these estates, and they have maimed and brutalized and tortured Kenyan citizens. So, most of whom were just sitting, watching TV, going about their business. They would storm in, they would shoot into, these people's homes. They would come in and brutalize people. What law were they upholding? So when these diplomats purport to speak about law, speak about the Constitution, what law are they talking about? How many people have Raila Odinga shot to death since August 8th? Nobody. How many people have I killed? Nobody. How many people have I maimed? Nobody. Now, turn around. How many people has Uhuru Kenyatta killed since August 8th? More than 300 people. So who is breaking the law? Who is breaking the Constitution? Who should be in jail? These are the questions. If you are popular and you won an election, why are you killing people? Why are you threatening them? Why are you muzzling them? Why are you bribing the media? Why are you bribing and threatening the judiciary? Why are you every single day telling us how tough and powerful and ruthless you are? Why? If you have legitimacy. These are the questions.
I just want to draw some parallel here. Do you think the representatives of the American government here, being Ambassador Godek and probably his colleagues from the Western world, do they represent their government's position? Is Godek's position Trump's position?
Well, I wouldn't put anything past Trump, but I don't think Trump knows who Godek is. I don't think Trump knows who the ambassador to Kenya, U.S. ambassador to Kenya is. Trump knows the ambassador of the U.S. in the UK,
Yes.
in China, in Russia, in France, in Germany,
Right.
in Israel, and in Egypt. Beyond that, Trump doesn't care. These are very junior officers. Godek is a director in the Kenyan context. He's not a senior officer. In fact, sometimes I feel pain when I see the People's President Raila Odinga meeting Godek. Godek should not be met beyond Norman Magaya at the NASA offices.
General,
No.
no, you can't be serious
The
about
truth
that.
be told, he's not at that level. The only time a president meets these midgets, these foreign midgets, is when they are coming to present their credentials and when they are going. Beyond that, a president has no time meeting with Godek. For what? For what? What can you discuss with Godek?
So perhaps
He's not just not incapable of understanding foreign policy because he's so junior. He does not get to even speak with his president. There is no Kenyan policy at the State Department in Washington, D.C. There is no African policy as we speak. There is no substantive holder of anything in the State Department on Africa. Everybody is acting. Even Yamamoto, who came here, is in an acting capacity. Everybody, all the directors are acting. So who is he reporting to? Nobody. Africa, as far as Trump is concerned, outside Egypt and South Africa, does not exist.
So you're saying Godek could be running a very different agenda from what
Yes.
his mother country.
Correct. He's not running the State Department agenda because there is no State Department agenda on Kenya. Do you even know the Secretary of State of the U.S.? You don't know. Has he ever spoken on Kenya? No. We had a lengthy electoral cycle. It's still going on because this crisis has not ended. And yet, you have not had one statement. When he's threatening, oh, we'll slap travel bans, who wants to go to the U.S.? I mean, for people like me who have traveled, who cares about the U.S.? The U.S. is one of the worst countries in the world to live in. There's no medical care, for example, and they're repealing Obamacare. Who wants to go there? Too much homelessness, too much crime, too much people in jail, too much people starving on the streets. Who wants to go to the U.S.? We love Kenya. That is why some of us would die transforming Kenya. We don't want to go to the U.S. So he can't poke his nose on what we are doing here. We are trying to transform our country. The Boston Tea Party was a revolutionary act. It happened in the U.S. many years ago, hundreds of years ago. What were they doing? Transforming their country. They had a civil war, the American Civil War,
Yes.
that was fought. Many people died, and they have the right to bear arms, which we don't have, right? How did they get that? Fighting for freedom. They physically, through force of arms, they bore arms, chased away the British. So what is he lecturing us on? Some of us are custodians of history. He can't teach us how revolutions have been fought and won all over the world. If we were to go to the United States, he can't lecture us on anything. We have not even taken up arms, and he's here lecturing. We are not going to negotiate over our rights. We are not going to negotiate over our democracy. We are not going to negotiate over our constitutional rights. These are not things anybody is going to lecture us on, particularly foreigners. We are going to deal with these things ourselves as Kenyans who have inalienable right to self-determination.
Very well, if you're just joining us, you're watching Opinion 2017, and our guest is none other than Dr. Miguna, NRM General. General, as we get to the last bit of our discussion this evening, NRM and NASA. One time you did make a remark that NASA should continue with the things that perhaps they're used to doing, and NRM should continue with the resistance. First, where are we in terms of the resistance, and what did that remark particularly mean?
Well, first of all, I have to apologize to NRM supporters, because you may realize I'm not in NASA. I'm not a member of NASA. A lot of people make that mistake. I've not joined NASA. There is no party called NASA. NASA is a coalition of ODM, of WIPA, of ANC, and Ford Kenya, isn't it?
Right.
And I'm not a member of any of those political parties. Remember, I ran for office in Nairobi as an independent.
Right.
So when I joined NRM, I joined NRM for purposes of revolutionary action to transform the political environment in Kenya so that we can get electoral justice, be able to protect our constitution and our democracy. Now, those were the objectives of NRM. Then those conservative forces within NASA decided they wanted to hold on to NRM so that they can castrate NRM and the revolution. And many of us are saying, no, we should let the conservative forces within NASA continue with their electoral agenda. The reason for which NASA was formed was to get power through the ballot. They didn't get power through the ballot. Now we want power through outside the ballot, through direct people power. And that they can't get. They don't know the formula. They don't know the strategy. They don't know the way. They don't have the plan of action. They don't have the cajoons to do it. They don't have the courage to do it. The conservatives in NASA. So that is why I proposed, let them go on with singing dialogue. Let them sing Osana. Let them go meet the diplomats. Let them go meet whoever they want to meet, the religious leaders, Uhuru, Ruto, whoever they want to meet. Let NRM, a revolutionary force, just like Umkhonto Wesizwe in South Africa, fought for freedom after years and years of ANC singing dialogue. It came a point after Albert Lutuli, Chief Albert Lutuli the late,
Yes.
won the Nobel Prize, Peace Prize, in 1963, because he was singing Osana. Mandela, people like Mbeki, Govan Mbeki, not Tabu, Govan Mbeki,
Right.
Walter Sisulu, Alberto Sisulu, radicals within ANC said, you know, enough singing Osana. We take up arms, we fight the apartheid regime. They went and formed Umkhonto. The rest is history. South Africa obtained its freedom. You cannot obtain freedom by singing Osana. So that they have to know. Two, there will be nothing to dialogue if there is no crisis. Singing dialogue is not going to give you dialogue. Uhuru has already said he's not meeting. You know why? Because they're doing nothing to destabilize him. You must destabilize him properly for him to say, let's talk. So as long as you're just singing, you're not causing a crisis. Uhuru will abuse you. Uhuru will intimidate you. Uhuru will threaten you. Uhuru will frustrate you. Uhuru will harass you because you are wasting your time. So we must get to a point where we are saying, if NASA is so desperate to hold on to NRM, then we better form another movement outside NASA and lead the revolution. Because then NASA would have become a liability, just like Jubilee. We have to get to that point.
But General, don't you think this
don't
is
run away
supposed?
from there.
Could it be seen as bringing disquiet?
No,
in
no, no.
NASA
There's no disquiet.
at this critical
Ask
point.
yourself a question. Some of these NASA principles, what have they fought for? It is good when they were there helping in the democratic process in terms of running for office, but there's no election. And they're not looking for an election this year or next year. And we are saying we need another election. So, our supporters out there, the ones who are very eager to get some action, what are you going to do to them? What are you going to tell them?
But
no, what are you going to tell them? I'm asking you a question.
The NASA coalition leaders made it clear, especially when he was at Francis Nyenze's burial, that he will be sworn in, even if it means he dies. He will be sworn in first, then he dies.
No, do you want him to die?
No, of course not.
So, you see, then you say, then he died. I don't want him to die. What I want is so that he's president.
Yes.
You don't do that by talking at a funeral. You don't do that by going to a people's assembly and just addressing some gathering. You don't do that by addressing a press conference and saying, I want dialogue. That's not what you do, my friend. You don't do that by passing a resolution. The People's Assembly is dead end. There's no end game. We have to think outside the box. Ruto, unfortunately for them, knows that. That is why he keeps on threatening them, because he knows these people will continue talking and we continue to govern. They're not actually governing, misruling. Ruto knows me. He knows me very well from the University of Nairobi. He knows I don't take those crap. Okay? I know what to do. And so I would not expect these people to keep us hostage forever. So they better make a decision now. Are you going to delink NRM from NASA or not? If you're not delinking NRM from NASA, then some of us will have to make a decision. Are we doing revolution or we are going to the boardroom? I'm not going to the boardroom. I don't want to sit in the boardroom to discuss what? With a thief. It's like you come, you steal my cow. Let's give the African example.
Right.
You've gone with it to your home. You're planning to slaughter it. I saw you stealing. I've seen my cow tethered at your home. You're telling me you're not ready to discuss with me over how you can return my cow. But you can discuss with me how, after the cow gives birth and you start milking my cow, we can discuss how I can help you sell the milk of my own cow. Not so that you can share the proceeds of the sale of the milk. You continue to tether my cow, you continue to raise my cow, to milk it, and then I can help you to find a market for your milk. Is that sensible?
No, it is not.
But that's what he's telling Raila. You can come, we discussed Vision 2030. We can discuss development of your taxes. You won an election, but we can't discuss me stealing it. We can't discuss us holding an election so that Kenyans can decide who really is the legitimate president. But we can discuss how you can help me get something called development for my own people, not your supporters. But I will continue to kill your supporters every day. Does that make sense to you?
No, it doesn't.
That's what NASA leaders are doing. Does that make sense? I'm saying no. There is nothing to discuss with Uhuru Kenyatta. Absolutely nothing. And if he wants to discussion, he should want discussion on how he's going to exit power so that we can have a real, legitimate, popular, democratically elected government of the people. We don't have that right now. This government, this thing they have, does not represent me and will not address the agenda of the Kenyan youth, 75% of whom are unemployed. They're not addressing that. They're not addressing the issue of corruption, which is basically destroying and has destroyed the economy completely. They're They're not discussing how the shilling has completely fallen. They're not discussing anything meaningful to the people of Kenya. Now, if we don't sort out this problem now, then we must say we've surrendered to despotism for life, so that for the next 50 years or more, there will be no democracy. There will never be an election. We will never be able to choose our leaders. And Ruto can steal, loot, and his cronies as much as possible, so that they can keep the rest of Kenya servitudes, slaves. I can't accept that. That is the point. If that brings discord in NASA, so be it. Why should we accept people who are taking us to slavery? They said we were on the walls of Jericho. We had passed River Jordan. We were now seeing Jerusalem. Why are they running back to Egypt?
Well, General, that's a difficult question. I mean, I may not be in a position to respond to that.
These are the questions Raila Odinga must ask himself now. Stop running to Egypt. Head to Jerusalem. You are on the walls of Jericho. Stop running.
But
Head to Jerusalem.
The body language of His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga in Chondon, in Kitui, well, he was very, very resolute, and he made it very clear that he is very purposed and he's not going to be distracted. So I think we can leave that at, leave it at that.
Baggy. This is not at the level of body language. This is not at the level of words. We want action. People have died for the people's president, Raila Odinga. They have died. They have paid the ultimate price. We should honor and respect them and do the right thing. We should quit talking. We should quit giving people promises. This is now the time for action. That is all I want. Act. Move. We say in Pan-Africanist language, stop agonizing. Organize and act. People no longer believe any of these promises. People no longer believe any of these words. They are tired even of me talking. They tell me, stop tweeting. We want to see some action. That's all I'm saying. Let us put our words in action. Let us respect our supporters who have died for us. Let us support the millions of people who have stood up with Raila Odinga. And let us do the right thing. Let us move forward. If this year ends without Raila swearing in, we have to take a very radical decision, just like the NC did. And the rest will be history.
Very well. Opinion 2017, General Miguna, NRM General. Last question, General. I met some lady, a Mamamboga, and she was discussing with a fellow border guy, and they were using the word demagogue very comfortably. Since you brought this word to the fore, I mean, demagogue and despot.
It is now in daily usage.
Yeah, it's now in
everybody. Yeah, it's now normal vocabulary.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when you say demagogue, it's associated with particular people. I won't mention names.
It's not unfortunate. It is fortunate. It is fortunate that the average citizen understand that Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto are demagogues. A demagogue is a person who does not use reason, common sense, or logic to persuade, but uses lies, uses deception, uses tricks to achieve their personal end. These people are in power because of that. When they were charged at The Hague, they said Kenya is being tried at The Hague. They turned their personal issues of alleged criminality into national issues. Then they tried to rally their people to protect them, saying that they were under attack. They were not under attack. Then, now, when we are going through this crisis they caused, they're the ones who stole the election, they're the ones who compromised the IBC, they're the ones who threatened the court, they're the ones who killed innocent civilians. They now say the year of politics is over. Politics cannot be over when you're a political leader. Politics cannot be over when politics determines public policy. It determines the price of unga. It determines the price of transportation. It determines the price of land. It determines the price of food. It determines how many Kenyans are employed where, how many jobs are created. It determines what kind of education we have, or the kind of healthcare we have. So how can you say we forget politics? You see, that's what a demagogue does. That's what Hitler was very good at. So we have demagogues misgoverning a country. And I'm glad that the average citizen knows that. They call them demagogue very comfortably.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And they now call them despots very desperately.
Oh, yes.
So I like the fact that when I use words like that, it gets into common usage. It means the revolution is seeping in.
Very well. We have got to end it there. I thank you for your numerous comments that you have managed to send through. We were talking to NRM General Dr. Miguna, and what an interview it was. Thank you for watching, General.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bagi.
Thank you very much, sir.
Continue the good work.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Wow. That was powerful. Doing this job is not for the faint-hearted. It takes dedication, courage, and strength. You know, it was live, so we've not edited it. We endure all kinds of challenges.
Hiyo ndio sababu mimi natoa shukrani kwenu kabisa kama wanadamu.
To bring you the most credible news. We thank all our viewers for their commitment. NASA TV is a people-driven channel, meaning our content direction and style comes directly from our viewers. We would like to appeal for your help